Casemiro in the middle of midfield. Alexandro steps in from Felipe Luis down the left-hand side. Then up top, Firmino, who has to improve. Gabriel Jesus, who has to improve. Coutinho, who needs to improve. And Everton, who has been the best player in this tournament. There's a lot of talent in this team, but they have to showcase it with a lot more consistency than they have so far in Copa America 2019.
Yeah, you would have got long odds on Everton being the star performer thus far. The Gremio man, the only home-based starter in the starting 11. For Argentina, only one home-based player as well, and that's Franco Armani in goal. This is the same 11 starting that took care of Venezuela in the quarter-final.
So it's the first time that Lionel Scaloni and Argentina put the same starting lineup out on the field in 40 matches for Argentina. So lack of consistency, lack of continuity. He's looking for it, Scaloni is, and he's going to try to find it within midfield of Leandro Paredes, Marcos Acuña, and Rodrigo de Paul. But who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? We can talk about Sergio Aguero if we want to, but this is all about Lionel Messi, and can he have a magical night for Argentina? They'll need one.
The Argentine captain awaits, with Dani Alves there to meet him. The only two survivors of the last time these two nations met in a Copa America. That was the 2007 final. Played on Venezuelan soil, we should remember. Brazilian victory that day by 3-0. And that was well before Chiche took command, of course, taking over at the start of 2016. A very different scenario facing Lionel Scaloni, who is still the interim manager of Argentina, and that very short string he's on could end with defeat tonight. Well, the Brazilians, Ali, have a lovely phrase for moments just like these. They say, this is the time that the Jaguar drinks the water. It's the decisive hour. The moment of truth.
Who's drinking the water?
The Jaguar. The Albiceleste of Argentina going from right to left against the famous colours of the Seleção of Brazil. The 106th meeting in a rivalry that goes back longer than this competition. Well over a century. As Ali highlighted, both teams with somewhat faltering progress through the competition to this point, as Petzela has to hook that ball away under duress. Did the flag stay down? It did! Well, it's come up now, but Armani was forced to make the first save of the game to deny Roberto Firmino.
There's no question that Firmino's in an offside position. But right away, a minute in, and we already see what this game will look like for long periods of time, and that is Brazilian possession, Argentina dropping behind the ball, and try to force Brazil into areas where Argentina can create turnovers and maybe go in transition with a counterattack.
There's Lautaro Martinez getting his first touch. If anyone has been the star for Argentina thus far, it's very possibly the wearer of the number 22, Lautaro Martinez. Got the all-important opener for them in the quarter-final victory against Venezuela. Dani Alves pouncing and powering. And he has Gabriel Jesus away to his right. It was too tough a task for Jesus to keep the attack alive, but Alves is there snapping in again.
Once you get past the emotion of this particular matchup and what it means historically, and the nuances that are within this rivalry of Argentina and Brazil, and you just tactically evaluate what's going on the field for both teams. An area where Brazil was very strong in the game against Peru was the matchup of Casemiro and Artur against whoever was playing in the midfield. They were dominant with great balance, controlling the midfield, controlling the pace of the game. In the midfield for Argentina, three guys who are not natural ball winners: Leandro Paredes, Rodrigo de Paul, and Marcos Acuna. One of them is going to have to defend. Maybe all three of them are going to have to defend. If Brazil control the midfield, more than likely they'll control the possession and they'll create the opportunities going forward.
Well, we have the first corner of the night. For a near post touch, which didn't arrive. Dani Alves trying to feed it back in and does so pretty effectively. Everton, I think, was ensnared offside though. Goals against both Bolivia and Peru for Everton, the 23-year-olds. And there's the 21-year-old, Lautaro Martinez. So many teammates, of course, in club football, so many players who know each other so well. You've got Aguero against Gabriel Jesus, the two Manchester City men. You've got Messi facing Coutinho and Artur of Barcelona. You've got Paredes facing his two PSG teammates. Casemiro nodding in forwards. Herman Petzela claiming he'd got the ball. He actually got a little more of Roberto Firmino, apparently. Brazil slightly better overall over the long history of this series, much better in recent years. Won the last 4 competitive meetings, unbeaten in the last 6 competitive meetings against Argentina. They met most recently in Saudi Arabia last October. It was a game in which Lionel Messi did not take part. Miranda got a late winner for Brazil on that occasion. And guess what? As part of the never-ending Brazil World Tour, they'll play again in Japan in November. But this is the one that really matters.
And really, the responsibility is on Brazil to be the one that sets the pace of the game, that truly takes the rhythm onto the attacking half with dynamic movement with and without the ball, and forces Argentina to defend. Argentina will be more than happy to wait for Brazil. So really, Brazil have to be the ones that speed up the pace of the game and do not fall into the trap that they fell into with Paraguay, where they became so slow, so predictable, and Paraguay were able to hold them off in the attacking half.
Nerve-jangling, nerve-shredding quarter-final for Brazil, wasn't it, to get past Paraguay on penalties. Argentina, as we showed you, the only team to actually score in the 90 minutes in the quarters as they took care of Venezuela. It's Gabriel Jesus trying to force the issue. No foul. The crowd, as you can clearly hear, thought otherwise.
We asked the question as to who would be the ball winner for Argentina in the midfield early on. Leandro Paredes with a couple of challenges, taking that position and that responsibility on for Argentina.
It's Rodrigo de Paul who's upended. The Udinese man coming off his best season of club football. Challengers continue to rein in. Messi was caught in possession. And continuing a theme, Tagliafico going in, but the Argentine players felt the whistle should have already gone. Tagliafico is the first into the book.
Nobody said it was going to be easy for this referee because of the emotions of the match, but he's got to be very careful that he doesn't get caught up in the emotion of the match himself. It is clearly a foul. Tagliafico is late. What the Argentinians are complaining about was there was a challenge on the other side. That should have been a foul for Argentina. Instead, the play continues. Tagliafico with a late challenge on Gabriel Jesus. Yellow card. And the tension is rising, as you would have expected coming into this match.
Free kick for Brazil. Dani Alves, who replaced Neymar as captain. Neymar, remember, lost before the start of the tournament. Aguero in the more uncomfortable penalty area for him, his own. To skew that clearance away. Did a little better the second time of asking. Messi not allowed to settle at all by Artur and Casemiro. Back to Alisson, who played his part, and a massive part, in the penalty shootout win against Paraguay. Well, it's full-blooded, Ali.
He was always going to be. And I think the difference is when Argentina decides to step their lines forward and they go on pressure, they got to do that together. Last sequence, they were able to do so, and there was a moment for them to be in a 3v1 situation against Gabriel Jesus, unnecessary foul, but still able to keep possession of the ball. That balance of Argentina, when to press, when to drop off, they have to have very good recognition as to which ones are the best moments to go and press Brazil, and which ones are the moment to say, you know what, you guys have the ball on your side of the field.
Chiche is waving rather vociferously on the near side. It is just a matchup that draws you to it like a magnet, doesn't it? Even if the current reality of both teams is somewhat less powerful than previous generations, it has lost none of its allure. So often regional dominance decided between these two. Sometimes at different stages it's been global dominance. Weighing it up from distance. Well, why not? Paredes just letting fly.
Most times that a guy's about to hit it from 40 yards, you say, well, go ahead, yeah, sure, go ahead and take it. But then at one point or another, Alisson might have been struggling like, wait a minute, I can't get there. If this ball is on target, I may not be able to stop it. Good hit by Leandro Paredes. And what really was the first long period of possession by Argentina in this match.
Paredes, who's only scored once in his country. Not really what he's there to do, but it's a really fearsome hit. It's Marquinhos to Thiago Silva, the three PSG men at the back for Brazil. Dani Alves, who scored in that 2007 Copa final against Argentina. That was his first ever goal for the Seleção. Alexandro back in the starting lineup tonight. The Juventus man, but he runs the ground. Chance to zip it forward perhaps for Aguero. Now on to Messi. First time he's really picked up the ball in the Brazil half. And within a second, he's on the turf. And a little disagreement between Paredes and Coutinho.
So if you're Brazil, while you want to match the intensity of Argentina, you got to get away from the physical contact and the physical challenges, and you just got to worry about playing. I truly believe that if this is about playing and executing, Brazil has more talent out on the field than Argentina does. But if you make it into a fight, then you really bring Argentina into it. And you may just get that moment of brilliance for Lionel Messi that eventually gets Argentina the big result they're looking for.
Well, we saw a more skilled Colombia side the other night, Ali, in the quarter-final against Chile, get drawn into just that sort of battle. And it proved to be fatal for them. Good layout from Gabriel Jesus. And Coutinho let the ball slip under his foot. He's there to try and make amends, doesn't do so. Sloppiness all around. There's been a lot of talk here in Copa America about the state of the pitches, Ali, and Lionel Messi saying the ball's been bobbling around like a rabbit.
This surface seems better than what we've seen in a lot of the games, at least so far anyways.
Now Lautaro Martinez. Messi pushed him just fractionally wide, but he does enough to carve out a corner. It'll be Argentina's first of the game.
Unnecessary turnover by Brazil coming out of the back allows Argentina to go on the attack, creating a corner kick opportunity where they can commit the big numbers forward.
Chiche prowling as Argentina prepare. Work it short via Messi. Disappointing cross in the end from Rodrigo de Paul. And the home team heave it clear. Van Foyth running into trouble. And it picked off. Gabriel Jesus into the penalty area, but running aground. Well, it was Foyth's error, but Jesus couldn't profit from it.
It's good initial pressure by Coutinho, winning the ball back from Juan Foyth. Mistake by the Argentina defender, but the first touch from Gabriel Jesus, as he had made an excellent run, splitting into two center back. That first touch got away from him, took him into a wider area, and from there Argentina was able to defend.
Gabriel Jesus, by the way, still looking for his first major tournament goal for Brazil. Didn't score at the World Cup last summer. Missed the Copa America in 2016. Artur. No-nonsense defensive work from Otamendi. Back from Thiago Silva. Thiago Silva, who famously missed that infamous semi-final 5 years ago when he was sat out with a yellow card. All sorts of conjecture in the 5 years since about whether that would have made any difference to the final outcome.
not a 7-goal difference, I'll tell you that much.
That's clever from Coutinho. Really quick feet to dance around Paredes. Dani Alves rekindling it. Still Dani Alves. The cross is on and the finish! It's brilliant for Brazil! And Gabriel Jesus does have his first major tournament goal. And what a game to get it in.
Good work by Dani Alves. Little filth past Marcos Acuña. And a slide tackle that goes in a flyby by Leandro Paredes. Then the interchange between Gabriel Jesus, who takes a central position, and Roberto Firmino, who goes wide right. Late from Argentina to cover. Late on the outside. Late in the middle. Good ball by Firmino. Tap in city for Gabriel Jesus. You want to say the part about him not scoring a major tournament again? That's done with. 1-0 Brazil.
And look what it means to Chiche and the Brazilian bench, and most of the stadium here at the Mineirão. Messi and Argentina have it all to do again.
We talked about Brazil needing to make things dynamic and quick in the attack. Rotation, place interchange, quick movement individually, breaking people down in a 1v1 situation, and then being able to make decisions quicker in the final third. All of that was in full display for Brazil. Dani Alves breaking down players in 1v1 situation, poor defending by Leandro Paredes. We mentioned the fact that there is no natural ball winner in the midfield for Argentina. Leandro Paredes with a flyby tackle. Movement to the outside by Roberto Firmino. Movement in the inside by Gabriel Jesus. Good ball by Firmino. And a layup for Gabriel Jesus. 1-0. Beautiful goal by Brazil.
Well, he was their top scorer in qualifying for the 2018 World Cup. Gabriel Jesus. Aguero was right on top of Alisson, who got it away in the nick of time. Walking a dangerous tightrope at the back there. The Brazilian defence. With every touch, every individual victory being serenaded by this crowd. They have come alive in Belo Horizonte.
The importance of that rotation and place interchange between Firmino and Gabriel Jesus. When Firmino makes the movement, the diagonal movement in behind towards the right-hand side, nobody goes with him. Otamendi doesn't go with him. By the time he reacts, it's late. And Gabriel Jesus, who had made the same sort of movement but into the inside, nobody picks him up either. Argentina ball watching, defending defensively, while Brazil moving with and without the ball. Nice combination, nice goal.
Messi trying to instigate something from deep. And again, all a little hurried. Dani Alves in a hurry to push on down the flank. Slip round the ankles for his trouble. Petzela. Just the first of two semi-finals, of course. Our coverage of the Copa America 2019 continuing tomorrow on ESPN+. Very different sort of encounter, Ali. Let's call it the Clásico Pacifico. Chile and Peru. They don't like each other very much.
Nope. It may not have the high-profile names that you will find in the Brazil-Argentina matchup, but there is a dislike, and there is plenty of history between Chile and Peru. And I'm sure, from what we have seen from both of those teams in this competition, there will be a lot of tension, a lot of energy, intensity, and physicality.
Yeah. Could be a whole lot of bruises at the end of that one tomorrow. And tonight, for that matter. Oh, it's a terrible giveaway from Otamendi. Provides a platform for Gabriel Jesus. Facing his Manchester City teammates, decided to give it away.
Gabriel Jesus did ever so well in holding the ball up, waiting for the run of Coutinho. Coutinho finally gives him the run into the middle. There was a passing lane for Gabriel Jesus, but at that point he decides to drop it back to Coutinho, who had already moved forward.
Tagliafico on the near side. Otamendi and Petzela. Otamendi tentatively working his way forward and then gives it away. Martinez trying to make something happen, and he's succeeded, winning a free kick.
There's no question it's a foul. Lautaro Martinez, who brings a lot of energy and movement in the attacking half for Argentina, but in order for him to be effective, Argentina has to be able to at the very least hold on to the ball in the final third,
which they have singularly failed to do thus far, but it's their first set piece of note other than a corner. They're some way from goal, but what can they conspire to produce? Messi with his hands on the controls. Well, that's no more than a gift for Alisson. And a pretty good throw too. Great throw, in fact. There's Everton on the run, but one Foyth across to throw a blanket over that. Philippe Coutinho, who's been a pretty solid performer thus far in the Copa. Actually involved in the most shots taken of any individual player in the tournament by some wide margin. Both shots he's taken himself and those he's laid on for others. Coutinho leading the competition. Brazil, by the way, Ali, we talk about their offensive firepower, but defensively, they've yet to be breached in the competition. 3-0 against Bolivia, goalless against Venezuela, 5-0 against Peru, then goalless against Paraguay in the penalty kick shootout win. Messi and Aguero trying to change that. Martinez. And again. It's all very condensed and hurried and squashed. Right down the middle though, isn't it?
And it is all down the middle, and part of that problem is that you don't really have natural outlets in wider areas. So you're not going to get Juan Foyth going forward on the right-hand side, so there isn't the same sort of option that you have with Dani Alves on the right-hand side for Brazil. Similarly, on the left-hand side, Tagliafico doesn't get forward nearly as much as, say, Alexander would down the left-hand side. But part of the reason you can't really get forward is because you haven't been able to commit those numbers since you haven't had the ball. So Argentina is really trying to find, okay, how many numbers do we commit forward if we do not have the ball?
Casemiro on Messi, and he wants a booking. I don't think he's going to get that.
you're Casemiro, you're fortunate that you're not getting a yellow card, so might as well walk away. Instead, you're bringing your face into the scene of the crime. You can make the argument that he gets the ball, but he also goes through the body of Lionel Messi to get that ball. I think it's a foul, and it's a good non-yellow card by the referee.
Brazil on Argentina, Real Madrid on Barcelona. Casemiro on Messi.
Maybe the referee is getting a little talking to from VAR, saying, I want to consider a yellow card.
There's definitely a conversation taking place, isn't there? According to the guidelines of VAR, only red cards are supposed to be reviewable. Petzela is getting a good talking to. Here's the free kick from Messi, a free header! Oh, he's back down off the bar! Sergio Aguero, agonizingly close to leveling for Argentina. Alisson, beaten all ends up. At the crossbar to the rescue as Argentina still press on. Messi's little touch. But Dani Alves is there. And now can find a release valve, perhaps. Right out of the blue and from the set piece alley, Argentina so close to hauling themselves back into contention.
Live for Argentina in the attack. Beautiful ball by Lionel Messi. Nice little header by Sergio Aguero over the top of the fully stretched Alisson. You think he's going to dip under the crossbar. It does not. Unfortunate for Argentina.
It's their most productive little spell of the game thus far. It's taken half an hour to arrive. Half an hour for Argentina to truly come to life. And Alisson, a little bit of a problem. Not sure if that came in trying to reach that Aguero header. Let's have a look at the free kick again.
It's a floated ball in between defenders. It's a nice header by Sergio Aguero. You're thinking that maybe Otamendi can get a touch, but the ball gets away from Otamendi on the bounce, allows Brazil to come in behind Alisson and clear the danger. Nervous defending by Brazil on the set piece. Beautiful ball by Messi. Good header by Aguero. Unfortunate for Argentina.
Yeah, and immediately you saw Alisson clutch his side. He'd gone up to try and stretch and reach that header, down clutching his back. So this will be a real concern. Of course, they have Ederson as the backup goalkeeper.
I was about to say, if there was a position that Brazil could afford an injury in, it would be a goalkeeper. Nice little field by Coutinho. Leandro Paredes once again with a flyby. And you'll see Paredes come across again. That's not naturally a defensive player.
Begun to get a grip on proceedings. I think that it eluded them thus far. Argentina working diligently on the near side is Marcos Acuna. Now it's Dani Alves' turn to be writhing in pain.
And as Acuna comes to shield the ball away from Dani Alves, well, I think the pictures are very clear. He steps on top of the foot of Dani Alves. And those ones hurt. There's no protection for those.
Alves at the age of 36, playing for his country for the 114th time. His third all-time in terms of winning caps for Brazil. It's interesting, you think about all the flair players for Brazil over the years, Ali, but their top 5 caps winners all of a defensive nature. Cafu and Roberto Carlos, top of the list. Dani Alves third. Lucio, and then goalkeeper Tafarel, rounding out the top 5.
The sequence of the goal filled by Dani Alves, then get your head up and see you later, Leandro Paredes, and then the no-look pass, and everything was just beautiful in terms of the execution by Brazil. Argentina late to react to every pass. And then a tap in for Gabriel Jesus.
Dani Alves back on the pitch and back in possession immediately. Artur, who made his Brazil debut against the United States last September. Aguero trying to apply the pressure. Almost paid off. A careless pass from Petzela. Be annoyed with himself. Argentina, remember, trying to rewrite their recent history here tonight, keep their run in the Copa going, and their hopes of ending this long stretch without any major tournament success. 26 years and counting. Even for Brazil, it's been a while. That 2007 Copa victory was their last. That's great work from Messi, and all of a sudden opportunities unfolding. Rare bit of space for him. Aguero, defender slipped, and Aguero's shot cannoning into Marquinhos, who provided the cover.
People wanted to see Messi. Well, that was Messi at his very best. The change of pace, how he's able to feel where the tackle is coming from, creating separation. Head up, understanding where the movement of his teammate was going to be. As Sergio Aguero moved away from the central defender, slipping Aguero in, and then Aguero, as he's taking the shot on goal, it's a sliding tackle by Marquinhos that keeps this 1-0 for Brazil.
But it continues the recent trend in the game, and that's Argentina being on top. Lionel Messi again. That's 5 to aim for. 6 make that inside the Brazilian penalty area. 1 just outside, but that was nowhere near any of those targets. Alexandro with the clearance. Messi lunging in to win it back, and then going for goal himself, but seemed to slip just as he took that shot.
Some people have criticized Lionel Messi at times for looking perhaps disinterested. This is not the case in this match. Can't quite hit it the way he wants it as he falls down on the ground. But there's a certain level of intensity that this match demands from every player, and that includes Lionel Messi.
Messi, who only has 4 goals in his career against Brazil in 9 games. Coutinho, but prior infringement. And a clear sign that it was handball. did you mention that word intensity, Ali? How about this? When you're talking intensity, the ICC is back, the International Champions Cup, beginning July the 16th on ESPN2. The opening game, Ali and I will be there for it in Chicago. Fiorentina taking on Chivas. Continued coverage of the ICC airs on the ESPN family of networks. That game on ESPN2 as Lautaro Martinez finds Messi. Still going until someone stops him. Tagliafico looking for the return pass. Wild swing at it from the Ajax man. Nothing but air. Dani Alves and Acuna getting to grips with each other. Booking for the Argentine.
There's a little something from Dani Alves. A little something. But it's a little something that you expect to happen in this sort of game. And Dani Alves, my guess is got a yellow card for it as well.
Yep. Your guess was correct, sir. Double booking.
That's all right. And it's a good call by the referee. No, Dani Alves, look, I know you're trying to explain it to Acuna. It's like, no, I was looking at the ball. No. You were looking at the ball and then give him a little something. Left with the elbow there for Acuna to eat it. Fine, no problem. Yellow for both, move on.
Aguero. Inside the final 5 minutes of a first half that at times has been played at a frantic pace. Jesus. On from Otamendi. Firmino trying to get hold of it. Now has it. Otamendi and his club teammates.
Argentina has done a good job of limiting the opportunities where Brazil is able to get the ball from one side to the other, isolating 1v1 situations. So we haven't seen enough of everything on the left-hand side, because every time that Brazil tries to take it from one side to the other, Argentina commits a foul, keeps the ball to one side, and forces Brazil to only one half of the field, rather than being able to use the whole capacity of the field.
Haven't seen much of Everton down this left-hand side, but he has it now. Well, I don't think he meant to do that. And almost worked out beautifully for it. Fourth at the final man intervention. And now Coutinho with the corner. Otamendi away. Follow-up shot is right down Broadway from Arthur. Mane is only going to get through to his opposite number with that distribution. Jesus and Tagliafico. Dani Alves seeking a better angle. It's a great cross. Firmino just trying to hang in the air to get on the end of it. Messi. Let's just absorbing stuff, isn't it? Even when it's bruising and frantic and physical.
It's been a good first half. We'll take it. We haven't had many in Copa America. This has been a good, intense, hard-fought first half.
I was reading the column by our colleague Tim Vickery on ESPN FC, Ali, and he said the competition so far has been like watching a tentative rehearsal rather than a fully prepared show. But this is the show, and Coutinho is on his way. Dani Alves.
I think Coutinho made it a little bit more difficult than it needed to be. Once he did the turn on his own half and he went on the straight run, there was a moment there where perhaps he just keep going straight until somebody from Argentina forces you to play the ball in a wider area. Argentina kept dropping. I think Coutinho does Argentina a favor by playing the ball out into a wide position for Dani Alves rather than keep driving and force Otamendi and Petzela to make a decision as they backtrack.
Seconds now of this first half. Sure how much stoppage time there'll be as Firmino goes on the prowl. Well, there's your answer, 2 minutes. Artur hemmed in. In terms of what we've seen up to this point in the competition, it's a lot of players based in Europe at the end of a long domestic season. That off the back of a World Cup summer last year. It suggests there's at least an element of inevitability about it.
Let's not forget Copa America Centenario and Copa America before then, and there just hasn't been rest.
No rest for Messi, that's for sure. As a bit of pinball inside the penalty area. Otamendi. Outside of the boot pass, hoping that Everton can latch onto it. 1/4, equally determined. I don't think he would ever claim to be an out-and-out right-back, would he? 1/4. That's where he's been in the last 2 games for Argentina. Is that in terms of the first act? Gabriel Jesus giving Brazil the perfect platform, a goal inside the first 20 minutes to banish any early nerves. Argentina came back strongly, Ali, and had Sergio Aguero's header been fractionally lower, it would have been level.
What we see is 2 teams that knew coming into this match that there was going to be energy, there was going to be intensity and pressure. And both of them are matching up that intensity first. They're playing second. There's a whole lot of fighting going on. But within all of that, there is a nuance that is simmering below the surface. And that is, Lionel Messi is playing well. Coutinho is playing well. The attacking players are getting better. I think this is going to be a second half with a whole lot of action and a whole lot of intrigue.
The magnetic spectacle that is the South American Super Classico. Brazil ahead for now. We'll send you to the FC studio crew for a preview tomorrow. In many ways, Ali, exactly as advertised in the first half. Neither side taking any prisoners, neither side holding back. It was battering, it was bruising, and at times it was breathless. There's going to be a quick change. Interestingly, right at the start of the second half, Willian is going to come on.
And Everton, of all people, is the one coming up, who admittedly was very quiet in the first half, but I'm not sure it had everything to do with him as much as it had to do with the fact that Brazil were so successful down the right-hand side, and a lot of it is because of the presence of Dani Alves, who demands and commands that ball down that side, that the switch was on for Brazil, but many a times either because Argentina were good enough to keep the ball on one side for Brazil, or Brazil did not have quick enough recognition, it did not allow Everton to exploit the things that he does best, and that's 1v1 situations, in this case against Juan Foyth.
So Willian, the Chelsea man, is on. Was one of their goal scorers in that 5-0 demolition of Peru in the final group stage game. But we'll also remember missing a penalty here in the round of 16 game in the 2014 World Cup against Chile in the shootout. Firmino in a crouch. Gabriel Jesus trying to aid and abet. And Tagliafico overrunning it. Tagliafico, a part of that Ajax side, really was so delightful to watch in their Champions League run. And there's Lionel Scaloni at the age of 41. Wondering if he has a future as the boss of Argentina. Peeling away was Gabriel Jesus, but easy pickings for Franco Armani. A cult hero in Argentina, Franco Armani, the goalkeeper, is for River Plate. It was after 8 years away playing in Colombia. Can Argentina ignite in this second half? We saw just a brief period of promise, didn't we, around the half-hour mark, when he came so close to equalising. Lionel Messi started to get on the ball a lot more and started to look in the mood. This is Tagliafico, and it comes towards Aguero, and required careful marshalling from Thiago Silva.
Really the first time that Tagliafico gets up that left-hand side. Gabriel Jesus late, tracking back. Good recognition on the ball out wide. Good ball into the box. A good defending by Thiago Silva. I don't have to watch the rest of the game to tell you that this is the best we've seen from Argentina in this tournament.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether it's going to be enough tonight, but this is the best they've looked. As organized as they have been, with some difficulties with the marking through the midfield, but overall, much better with possession of the ball, much better creating opportunities from those long possessions, and much better in transition.
They've worked it forward again, effectively. Acuna spoiling what had preceded him with a bit of a sloppy pass. And then flash, they have it back. And here goes Aguero. Martinez! Lautaro Martinez swinging a left boot at it. Not Not a serious threat for Allison.
Mentioned in the first half that Brazil has not conceded a goal in this competition, and while that is the case, it's also true that they really haven't been tested defensively. Argentina has done some of that in this match, and Brazil has been able to answer with questions.
Yeah, their defensive fortitude actually stretches back even further when you go back to the end of the last World Cup. Since then, 12 games played, 10 clean sheets, only 2 goals conceded. That's a lot of friendlies against somewhat inferior opposition thrown into that mix, but it's a good habit to get into. The spin and turn from Messi proved a little too much.
It's also a safe bet that we're not going to end up 11v11 in this match.
You're laying that out there right now. And,
there's just a lot of hot-headed players out there that are ready to yellow cards, so somebody may do something idiotic and get themselves thrown out of the match.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be the first time it's happened when these two have met. Now Messi with the layoff, the shot is on, and a lot of time to weigh it up for Rodrigo de Paul. Almost too much time, it appears.
Good work by Sergio Aguero. Nice look from Lionel Messi with a late run by Rodrigo de Paul. Poor defending by Brazil. Everybody collapsing to the middle. Nobody taking care of the option out wide. Rodrigo de Paul with a lot of time to think about it. Comes across, slashes the ball. And he goes over the top. But again, long period of possession by Argentina. Good individual movement by Aguero. Good pass by Messi. But not the finish that Rodrigo de Paul was hoping for.
Coutinho seeing his move stymied, but back come Brazil again, looking for more. Dani Alves overcooking that cross. Roberto Firmino also scored against Peru, like Willian. Firmino, who was actually signed by Liverpool during the Copa America back in 2015. And you mentioned that string of Copas, 2015, 2016, this year, Ali, is going to be one next summer as well. Argentina and Colombia are going to co-host as CONMEBOL, the South American Federation, tries to get on the schedule where it happens every 4 years, but in even-numbered years, so it's going to be no rest next summer either for these players. As Messi has a little nibble. Aguero charting a path through midfield waters, and then left rather stranded on an island.
That's exactly when you need a natural outlet down the right-hand side. 1-4 is not going to give you that. Rodrigo de Paul has to work on the inside, so he's not going to give you that either. Sergio Aguero is looking to play the ball out into a wider area where Brazil had collapsed into the middle, but there was no option there.
Coutinho back to Casemiro. Alexandro. Alexandro, who made his Brazilian debut back in 2011. He actually went 5 years without winning a cap. A critical juncture of the game, you feel this 10 minutes into the second half. Neither side really in the ascendancy at the moment, as Willian is left in a crumpled heap. Now Dani Alves. Looking for a quick give and go. Quick feet from Gabriel Jesus. That was wonderful. Coutinho! Well, he might have finished it there and then.
Good skill by Gabriel Jesus. Nice little touch to Coutinho, and I'm not sure that Coutinho needs that extra touch to get around the defender that's coming across. If he hits it first time, I think he's got a lot of goal to hit at. 1/4 receiving a yellow card for the challenge on Willian. But that extra touch by Coutinho and trying to set up his right foot where he could open up his body, allow the Argentina defender to come across and unbalance Coutinho. Eventually the ball goes wide.
Messi ghosting through one challenge and hitting the Jets, but also hitting Dani Alves. It was the immovable object standing in his way. Martinez breaks for Messi here. Messi! Back off the post! And still Messi keeps it alive! And right across the face of goal, begging for a touch. Well, Argentina still knocking on the door. Well, they've seen their luck desert them here tonight. At least thus far in Belo Horizonte, twice they've hit the woodwork.
Brazil losing the ball in a bad area, and then off the rebound it falls to Lionel Messi, who he just hits this as cleanly as he possibly can. Alisson full stretch, can't get there, off the post and out, and back again across by Lionel Messi. Nobody to tap it in. Unfortunate for Argentina. Early pressure in this second half. Brazil unable to keep possession of the ball with consistency, and Argentina threatening to get back into the game.
Booking for Lautaro Martinez, and he can't have too many complaints. The Inter man bringing down the Juventus man. But you said it, Ali. Thinking back to that Messi strike, how clean did he hit that? Clean as a whistle is the answer, and it just thumped into the post.
And it's not an easy skill to try to pull off as he's going full speed. The ball going away from him, hits it on a full volley, controls the trajectory of the ball and the direction as well, but unable to get it off the post and in, instead off the post and out.
Well, hoping to improve their fortune and looking for some divine intervention perhaps. Angel Di Maria is the man who Lionel Scaloni is going to turn to, replacing Marcos Acuna.
Don't think I didn't notice what you did there.
Not much gets past you,
no,
Mr. Moreno. No. Not much.
Angel and divine intervention, I see you.
He's due a goal, that's for sure, as Gabriel Jesus latches onto that. Di Maria hasn't scored since Argentina went out of the World Cup, defeat to France. Now, Willian to the byline. Delicate little cross which hung in the air. Did it go behind? I think it did before it was touched.
The much criticized and maligned Angel Di Maria. People wondering, and I'm one of those that is thinking, well, maybe his time with the national team at the very top of the Argentina national team should be over. And yet here he is in an important moment, in a key situation. Lionel Scaloni trusts Di Maria to do the job.
Well, he came off the bench against Venezuela, didn't he, to win his 100th cap. Argentina.
The issue with Di Maria now in his career is that at his very best, when he was on the top of his game, he's a guy that could do this consistently, running past people and running away from people and stretch other teams down the left-hand side. As he's gotten older, what we have seen from him at PSG is that he's found his way more towards a central position as Marquinhos signals to the bench that he's done.
Yeah, I was going to say the PSG contingent continues to climb out there. Angel Di Maria making 5 players from the Parisian Giants currently involved, but subtract 1 from that because I think Marquinhos.
Did you think Miranda thought he was going to play today? Shoes off. Come on.
Not quite ready for action just yet, it appears. It's Felipe Luis, the left back, wearing the bib. Now Miranda has his boots on. They might help. Miranda, by the way, has scored the only goal of the game the last time these two nations met in Saudi Arabia. This was Messi's follow-up. Even that had Aguero being able to take another step forward. He would have been presented with a tap-in at it.
Aguero or any of the Brazilian players who may have missed clear that into their own goal. Good sequence in attack for Argentina.
That's not so good though. Messi crowded out. So too Firmino, who ran into traffic. Brazil still down to 10 men for the moment because Marquinhos can't get back on. They're not letting Miranda on. And Argentina could exploit it here. Di Maria couldn't haul it in. Messi didn't hear the approaching footsteps. And now Brazil can get themselves organised.
I have to tell you, Brazil gets incredibly lucky here that Angel Di Maria is unable to control the ball with his left foot going towards goal. For whatever reason, as Marquinhos is not allowed to come back onto the field, Brazil just let Di Maria run freely, and I mean wide open behind the back line. Nobody picks him up. If Di Maria brings the ball down, he has a 1v1 situation. Marquinhos out, Miranda in. Brazil hasn't been all that clean in this second half. Argentina has really pushed the tempo of the game. They've been a lot better.
Well, that just increases the age, doesn't it, of that Brazilian backline. We got 36-year-old Dani Alves, 34-year-old Thiago Silva, and now 34-year-old Miranda. Here's Messi, weaving his way through. Was he clipped? He was, but it was outside the penalty area. Well, what are the Argentina players arguing here? Was it possible advantage. Here's the grab. Was it the grab rather than the clip? It was, both of them were outside the area, Alec.
My guess is that Argentina is complaining that Dani Alves was already on a yellow card, potentially a second yellow card, and then, of course, being thrown out of the game. If Di Maria is able to keep his run going down the left-hand side as Messi plays the ball through, rather than trying to come and combine down the middle, just a little bit more width, Di Maria runs right onto that ball that Messi had played in behind, and the attacking sequence continues for Argentina. Either way, chance here for Argentina, and that man, Lionel Messi.
Well, it's the Messi against Alisson show. We've been absorbed by what we've seen when these two have battled in the last 2 years in the Champions League. When you think about it, Alisson has had the better of Messi at club level, both with Roma and with Liverpool in the Champions League. Is this the moment for the Albi Celeste? Messi! And it was well claimed by Alisson. Made that look a lot easier than it was. Rodrigo de Paul is making way for Giovanni Lo Celso, who scored coming off the bench against Venezuela in the quarter-final. With maybe an assist going to the beleaguered Venezuelan goalkeeper, Ali, to bring up a sore point for you.
Thanks for the reminder. I was going to let it go, but no, you kept going.
Well, that was at a point we should add where Venezuela were really knocking on the door for an equaliser. And what can Lo Celso do here? It's another good spell this for Argentina at the midway point of the second half. Some unease. You can feel it, you can sense it.
The same control that Brazil had in the first half through the midfield, that's not happening here in the second half. Casemiro and Artur have lost possession of the ball. There's no real transition through the midfield. Too many turnovers, and Argentina are taking advantage and creating opportunities because of it.
Gabriel Jesus running out of steam, running out of room. Nerves jangling for sure in the home crowd here. Belo Horizonte. Chiche, who coached at club level in the city for a year with Atletico Mineral, took over from Dunga after that disastrous Copa America Centenario. Has a contract to take Brazil through to the end of the 2022 World Cup cycle. Lionel Scaloni, his opposite number, in a very different scenario. Corner kick forthcoming. Miranda sauntering forward alongside Casemiro. Coutinho's service. Well, Dani Alves will know exactly what he was intending there.
He turned away from the easy pass, then turned on the inside to his left foot to then try the same pass that he didn't want to play with his right foot into a much more crowded area. Hits it. Argentina back with the ball.
Di Maria and Aguero. Aguero chasing back and helping himself to it. Now Messi setting off on a dribble, but yellow curtain very quickly drawn closed. And Gabriel Jesus hurdling the first challenge, getting around the second still. Gabriel Jesus, surely for Brazil! It's a tap in! It's a simple finish, but it could be a significant goal for the Seleção. The Copa America final beckoning for Brazil.
In Argentina's best moment, when they were feeling good about themselves. A little touch and tackle to begin with, then strength, then skill, then vision, then tap-in city. 2-0 Brazil. The effort by Gabriel Jesus, the talent, the ability, the strength. And then Firmino with a little miss hit. A tiny bit of a miss hit, but good enough to go into the back of the net. Beautifully done by Gabriel Jesus.
Oh, they've exchanged assists and finishes, haven't they? Firmino setting up Gabriel Jesus in the first half. The roles reversed in the second. And Argentina distraught, seemingly on top of proceedings. So close to an equaliser on two different occasions, and frustrations boiling over for Lionel Scaloni.
The frustration for Lionel Scaloni comes from the fact that he thinks Aguero is fouled off the ball as the ball is being played into him inside the 18-yard box. From that pass interception, the outlet goes to Gabriel Jesus, who then continues the play forward and makes an exceptional run, ending up in the correct decision. He could have gone for the shot himself. So Firmino wide open. Another layup for Brazil. But the individual talent of Gabriel Jesus, who over distance was able to get past Otamendi and past the whole Argentina back line, cutting back 1-4 and then finding Firmino. 2-0 for Brazil when Argentina was pushing forward in Argentina's best moment, similar to the way that Argentina took care of Venezuela. Brazil is taking care of Argentina.
Yeah, very much a similar dose of medicine. It's a bitter pill for Argentina, who still have time to work with. They have not had fortune on their side here, and now they have to struggle to control their impulses, which is exactly what Lautaro Martinez is failing to do.
Lautaro Martinez is on a yellow card. He's fortunate that he doesn't get a yellow with a challenge. Initially by Petzela, and then when Firmino steps on the ball and gives a little bit of fill, Lautaro Martinez goes with a challenge.
Well, Lionel Scaloni has got himself a booking.
What they're complaining about is very simple. Firmino is showing off Lautaro Martinez. He goes for the med. There's frustration of Argentina to begin with, and now they're complaining about the fact that Firmino made the decision to put the ball between the legs of Lautaro Martinez. Which, by the way, Roberto Firmino is well within his rights to do so. Now, is it the sporting way? Perhaps not. But that's for the referee to decide.
Right.
That's not for Lautaro Martinez to decide. And the truth of the matter is that if Firmino wants to play that way and give it a little bit of flavor, and that's the way he wants to approach the match, so be it. And if somebody's going to make it even, it shouldn't be the guy with a yellow card. In this case, Lautaro Martinez, because he'll get himself thrown out.
And all of this, Ali, only helps one of the teams out there as Gabriel Jesus threatened to break through again. Only helps one team, doesn't it? And it's not Argentina.
No, at this point, Argentina's not going to be able to fight their way to scoring 2 goals. They're going to have to play their way into scoring 2 goals. For all the fighting and intensity and energy that they've shown, they still have a 0 on the scoreboard. So right now they have to dedicate themselves to one thing and one thing only: getting 1 goal back, and then trying to have a finish in which they can at the very least push forward, knowing that they have a chance.
Di Maria trying to make some sort of incision. Good initial move and cross. Quite break for Aguero. Back they come again. Aguero lurking.
It's a handball by Lautaro Martinez.
Well, yeah.
I got you, Adrian. Don't worry about it. I got you.
The eagle-eyed Alejandro Moreno.
Well, apparently that's not what was called.
Argentina have ended up with the free kick somehow. Try and work that out if you can. Rather intense conversation taking place from referee and assistants. Alisson is that the goalkeeper's best friend on his side a couple of times tonight. Already denied Messi once from a free kick from a similar sort of position. Argentina's hopes may well rest on this moment. Can Messi hold them back into contention? Almost identical, isn't it, in terms of placement? Messi, well, the wall did its job. Rose to meet it. Casemiro, I think, got the ultimate block. Just the second corner of the night for Argentina. Whipped in. Heard away from Miranda, and the follow-up shot wayward and harmless. Second Copa America semi-final I'll tell you about after we see the free kick. That was the previous free kick that Alisson had plucked out of mid-air. As you see the Copa America semi-final brackets, Chile and Peru tomorrow, Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Start Time on ESPN+. And then, of course, the 2 winners will meet in the final, 4 Eastern on Sunday afternoon. That final back at the Maracanã.
And as we saw a replay of that free kick by Lionel Messi, taking a free kick from that side for a left-footed player, the execution has to be absolutely perfect in order for it to get past a goalkeeper of the quality of Alisson. The natural bend on that ball is coming towards the inside, coming towards Alisson, and as Alisson is working his way across, he's going to get there every time, unless, again, the execution is perfect.
Well, Gabriel Jesus has certainly played his part tonight. The breakthrough goal, the follow-up assist, and now he makes way for a man targeting midfield suffocation, and that's Alan. Ten minutes remaining. Aguero.
So Casemiro will sit in front of the back four. Arturo and Alan right in front of Casemiro. And then William, Firmino and Coutinho in front of them.
That was really coolly done by Dani Alves, wasn't it, with Di Maria breathing down his neck. Doesn't happen tonight for Lautaro Martinez. Messi to Tagliafico, Di Maria, and again Aguero was in the vicinity, wasn't he? But not quite on the doorstep, and that has been the story for him tonight. As Willian is going to require some treatment at the very least, it appears.
This is the part that I don't understand about Argentina, and in this case, Lautaro Martinez. 81st minute. You get down the left-hand side for Angel Di Maria. He's about to cross the ball into a dangerous area. Aguero is going to the near post. If you're Lautaro Martinez, you have to take a chance and get to that far post, or at the very least get to the middle of the goal. You do that, maybe you flash across Alisson and you score the goal. Now it's 2-1. Instead, you're waiting for a ball to be cut back to the top of the 18-yard box or the penalty spot. You don't take that chance going forward. That ball is never going to get to you, and the opportunity goes away. Aguero flashing across the near post, and there's nobody for Argentina anywhere around Alisson as he makes a save.
Di Maria. A tangle of legs since Martinez crashing to the turf. And here's Foyth. Paredes. Messi back to Foyth. Getting inside the penalty area, but too many yellow shirts draped all over him. Foyth did well to chisel something out of it, and then a deep cross. Dani Alves happy to head it behind as they try and get themselves recalibrated at the back. Willian being invited back on.
There's some confusion by Brazil defensively, not quite sure what the assignments are.
Touch on from the corners. Argentina player down and writhing in the penalty area. The referee's going to halt this for some treatment.
Maybe for some treatment and maybe for some VAR action.
Did your eagle eye spot something?
Well, Otamendi went down as if he was dying, so there was a reaction from Aguero as well. Maybe there is something here.
See if we can pick it up. Well,
it's contact.
Yeah, it was certainly contact from Artur. I mean, it was contact of an agricultural nature. He just
it's clear that he makes a beeline towards Otamendi, gives him a shoulder charge without any regard for the ball whatsoever. The ball is nowhere near. I have to say, that looked like a penalty to me.
Upon closer inspection, certainly appeared to tick all the boxes, didn't it? I wonder if the VAR official is thinking what you're thinking, Ali. I believe he is. He's saying something to the referee. Substitution, meanwhile, is made. And play on. All forgotten about.
Well, all I can tell you is that if that happens in the middle of midfield, it's a foul. No question about it. And in fact, in this game, it has been called a foul. A similar play.
Yep. Paulo Dybala, meanwhile, is on. He's replaced Nicolas Tagliafico. Pretty much a last throw of the dice for Lionel Scaloni. Time is not on their side. Is this long stretch in the international wilderness set to continue for Argentina? Certainly appears to be that way. Argentina, in many ways, the preeminent global force from the late 70s through to the early 90s, when you think about it. 2 World Cup wins, they made another World Cup final, but from that Copa America win in '93, nothing.
Which for any other country around the world, you say, well, okay, well, you go through some patches. But for Argentina, it's unacceptable.
There's there to be a final dagger here. Roberto Firmino felt he was fouled, pleading his case, but not going to be upheld. Messi. As you said, Ali, one of his better performances in recent times in an Argentina shirt, and even that wasn't enough tonight. Firmino back to Dani Alves.
And it's a reality that we have talked about throughout the tournament. Whatever is going on in the Federation Argentina and their lack of structure and organization, let's put that aside for a second. Over the years, there's been similar lack of organization and lack of structure. But Argentina has been able to mask that reality with talent on the field. The reality of this group is that on talent alone, they're not able to mask whatever difficulties they got going on within the federation. This group, as we see right now in Argentina, is simply not to the standard that they have had in years past. Think about where these players out on the field, where some of them play week in and week out, the clubs that they play for, and compare that to Argentinian teams of the past. And some may say, well, Otamendi plays in Manchester City. Well, no, Otamendi's in Manchester City, but he's not playing regularly.
Yeah.
Paulo Dybala is at Juventus, but not playing regularly. Angel Di Maria is whatever is left of what was a tremendous player at one point.
A turn, a deflected shot from Lo Celso will provide a corner.
And so on and so forth.
Messi going for the return ball.
The truth is that, simply put, on paper and on the field, Argentina right now is not better than Brazil.
Yeah.
They're not.
Well, and they have to sort out the coaching situation as well, Ali. Lionel Scaloni could be his last game, but it continues a theme. They just haven't had a manager that's lasted more than 3 years since Marcelo Bielsa, and that was back in 2004 that he departed. So many have tried. Think of Sabella and Tata Martino, Eduardo Guaso, Jorge Sampaoli, whole string of them.
And that goes hand in hand with what we were talking about in terms of the lack of structure and organization across the board. If you don't have a consistent message coming from the very top, then it all trickles down, and eventually it affects the way a team performs out on the field.
Well, the other side of the coin, though, is for Brazil, this will be cathartic. It won't, as we said, heal those wounds and scars, not by any stretch of the imagination from 5 years ago, but it's a massive step in the right direction for them, especially if they can go on and win the final at the Maracanã. Aguero's chase appears to be in vain.
Here's a question to Argentina and Argentina fans. Is this team in a better place now than they were a year ago in the World Cup? Are they better off right now?
It's very hard to answer in the affirmative, isn't it? As Coutinho makes his run, and stooping in was 1/4 to prevent further damage being done.
I think the answer is not really. There's some new faces, players that perhaps you may want to get excited about, and that brings some hope, but that's about it. And the bigger question is, right now, as they're about to lose the semifinal in Copa America, what happens with the future of Lionel Messi and the national team picture?
Yep. Well, remember, he temporarily at least retired after the last Copa America, the Centenario, and was talked out of that retirement. And there are some suggestions that he could do the same if this journey ended. They do have a Copa America next summer as well, and they will be one of the co-hosts along with Colombia.
And whereas other players have taken that route of retiring from their national teams and being away from the spotlight, if you will, you have to recognize that Messi, and give him his credit, that he has raised his hand and said, you know what, I'm going to play with my national team. And I know it's a bad situation. And I know there's pressure and scrutiny. And it's everything going to fall on my shoulders, one way or the other. And he's right here. And today was probably his best, well, not probably, by far his best performance in Copa America. But it wasn't enough, not for Argentina and not for Lionel Messi. And who knows whether it's ever going to be enough for Lionel Messi with the Argentina national team jersey. If you're a Messi hater, it's never going to be enough.
Alexandro heading for a corner flag. Everyone looking at the referee expectantly. The 4 minutes are up, and Argentina's Copa America is up. It's agony and anguish for Argentina, but it is a thing of beauty for the boys from Brazil. They have made the Copa America final on home soil, and they've left their fiercest rivals on the floor.